couple of questions till the end. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can, with the understanding there may be some questions we're just not at liberty to say, at least at the current stage. So if that works for everybody, we'll kind of introduce everyone and start to go through the details a little bit.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's I'm President of American Pinball, and we just started about a couple of months new pinball business and setting up a new team. And recently Joe will join our team. We are getting more people from the industry to be and make a strong team and make a great pinball machines for the pinball communities. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe Balster. Just joined American Pinball this week. Looking forward to the challenge. We're doing operations and trying to set up what we can to production facility up and get you guys all quality pinball machines. That's our goal. That's where we're going. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Harry Magnus. I'm from Holland, and joining the team to make some nice, interesting games for everybody to enjoy, and doing the best that we can.
All right, so, wow, I got a lot louder. Apologies. Okay, so here's how we're going to kind of run through things, if it works for everybody. We're going to kind of talk through and clarify some of the speculation, rumors, some of the BS that's out there, to be honest. And then our goal is to really talk about the future. So in a perfect world, we're going to try and address some of the concerns about the past and focus on the future with American Pinball. So first of all, we want to make it very clear. American Pinball does not own Zidware. American Pinball does not own Magic Girl, does not own Zombie, does not own Alice. Zidware owns those properties. What we're essentially acting as is a subcontractor for Zidware. So another way to put it is we're making those long lost dreams come true. Many people in this room that I've spoken to have said it. They kind of felt that, that investment in Magic Girl was lost years ago. And the fact of the matter is, because of this team that's here today and other people that aren't physically here, we're making those dreams come true. The goal and the expectation as we sit here today is that Magic Girl will be delivered to its rightful owners by the end of the year. Obviously, circumstances happen where there are delays, but based on what we're seeing right now, that is a realistic goal. And that point I want to make very clear is we want to have this plan in place where we're going to do one thing right and then move on to the next. We don't want to make expectations or promises, grandiose promises, I should say, with a plan that's a year from now we're going to do X and Y. We want to kind of do one thing really well instead of do 3 or 4 things kind of mediocre. And I think everyone here can hopefully understand that viewpoint. What that means is we're going to answer the questions as it relates to other Zidware properties, but we want to do Magic Girl right, and we want to get that finished and deliver it, and then we'll move on to how we're going to fulfill those orders and requests on Zombie and Alice. So to clarify, Zidware is making Magic Girl. So when the time comes, you will receive Magic Girl from Zidware. If there's repairs that are needed, you go to Zidware. If there's replacement parts that are needed, you go to Zidware. It's not American Pinball that's making the machine. We're basically making it to the specifications, the original specifications based on the agreement with Zidware. Another question that a lot of people have asked, we are making the number that was promised on Magic Girl. That number is still somewhat to be determined. It's in the neighborhood of 19 or 20 pieces. When those orders are fulfilled, there will not be another Magic Girl. We've had a lot of people saying, can I get in? Can I buy someone's place? We're not getting involved in that right now, but we are saying when the Magic Girls are done, they're done. The The last point that I'm going to clarify, I think right now as it relates to Zidware is what I said before. We know there's questions related to Zombie and Alex, and we're not ignoring those questions. We just don't want to set the protocol for how it's going to work. There's some options that we're looking into, some scenarios that could be dependent on each person, literally each individual person. But until we finish with Magic Girl, we want to hold those decisions just so we can kind of focus on one thing at a time. Anything that I missed? All right, then let's move. So here's the idea, guys. That's the past. The past is the past. There's things, for the most part, that we can't control. And truthfully, the team that's here had no responsibility for it. So that said, we are making some of those dreams come true. And as I said at the very beginning, we want to focus on the future. The future is American Pinball. American Pinball is based, about 30, 40 minutes from here. So still in the mecca of the pinball universe, if you will. And we're a new startup company. We're kind of making a lot of progress in a very little bit of time. And by that I mean, you've all probably seen what we're doing with Houdini. It's very much a work in progress, but an incredible amount of work has been done in a very little amount of time. And the only way we've been able to do that, aside from working 18-hour days, is, we're adding to the team as we speak. As we mentioned, Joe just joined this week. We're looking to add a few other pinball experts here in the very, very near future. I know everyone's sitting here saying there's somebody from the team missing. Based on, truthfully, all the speculation, obviously all of us can say, actions are stronger than words. A lot of us can say our bark is bigger than our bite. But based on what we were seeing online, we just decided as a team it wasn't the right place for John to be in right now. Whether or not that changes this time next year, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. John is a consultant for American Pinball. He's not an owner of American Pinball. He has no financial ownership in any way, shape, or form. Again, that's something we want to make very clear to everybody. It is a separate entity. John is a consultant, nothing more, nothing less. Another question that a lot of people have asked, can we come see what you guys are doing at American Pinball? Because we're close, we totally understand that question, but the bottom line is we're not doing that this year. We have hopes to offer some type of more formal tour next year, whether it's literally having a bus bring people from here to our factory to see what we're doing or not is not set in stone. But really the whole idea is we need a team at American Pinball making these Magic Girls right now, working with John to get those orders finished. And I think you'll see come next year there'll be a much more experience that we can offer as American Pinball. So, keeping with this theme of answering questions based on how many times we've seen that question, why partner with John? I think a lot of people are, have their views and opinions, and they're all welcome. The saying about everyone having their own opinions. But the truth of the matter is, there's a couple of reasons we decided to partner with John. One is we all feel, he deserves a second chance. We all know people's views on John, and I think we can all, we're not here to, throw John under the bus, but John is really great at a lot of things. We all know what he's not good at, I would say. And now, kind of by joining forces with John, we're able to provide some of those skills that he didn't have. And the truth of the matter is, he's got an incredibly creative mindset. And he's been able to do some things that, but truth be told, would take a team. And he's been able to do some of it by himself. That's how skilled he is and how much of somewhat of a renaissance man he is. Again, knowing there's things he can't do. But the truth is, we partnered with John for all of those reasons. To give him a second chance. John is a good person. Whether or not he's a good businessman, I think we all have, clarity on that. But that being said, the other truth of the matter is, if we weren't partnered with John, I don't know that we'd be here today. I don't know that Houdini would be as far along as it is. I don't think we'd be the talk of Pinside the way we've been the last couple of weeks. I don't think the feedback and engagement on Facebook would be the way it was if we were just a bunch of random dudes that decided to launch a pinball company. So the last point I'll say about that kind of is the fact that we are building on the team. We mentioned Joe a couple times. We're adding to the team. We're identifying what skills we're in need of and doing the best we can to get that put together to deliver Houdini, which you guys have seen versions of, right? You've all started to see what we're doing. The goal with Houdini is to deliver it the first half of next year. So that's saying within the next 9 months or so, Houdini will be shipping and it'll be finished 100%. Keeping with the theme on Houdini, the price is right. $69.95 is the retail price. Based on everyone here, that number is not changing. There's some discussions about if there's some options to be bought as kind of like added ways to personalize your machine or whatnot, and we're working through that as back and forth internally. We haven't made that decision yet. Understanding the market's changed a little bit where pre-orders aren't what they used to be, even though we heard that Big Lebowski is going that route and has had a successful ride. But what our hope is we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're not gonna take your traditional pre-orders. We understand the hesitations that are out there in the industry and the backlash that's happened. So when we're ready, we will let everybody know how we're gonna do it. We've got some ideas that I think will just kind of make you feel a little more comfortable, make us feel a little more comfortable. And you know, the truth of the matter is, we're a new startup company, so we're kind of feeling our way through things. It doesn't mean you're gonna always like the way we do it, or the process we do it, or the timing that we go through, but understand it's based on our plans. We have kind of a roadmap on how we're gonna do things and why we're gonna do things, and you know, I think based on the progress that has been made since we first announced the company, you know, officially roughly a month ago, it's been a crazy ride. And I think we've made a lot of progress, and we have our own room down the hall. It's a private room, but we are prepared to show people what we've been up to, and know that we spent a lot of time and a lot of work to get to where we're at today based on the fact that Pinball Expo is in town and we're local, but there's a lot of work to be done. We have some benchmarks that we're working on so we can make those a reality of delivering Houdini by the middle of next year. Anything I missed, guys? So one point that I had written on here is something that we've kind of been told now by a couple people, which is, you know, we're not going to close it to the standpoint of we're going to welcome some questions, but the best line that we've received back from you, the industry, is, you know, if it wasn't for American Pinball, Magic Girl wouldn't be happening. And I think in the end, we want to make people realize that American Pinball's not the bad guys. We're doing what we can to make those machines happen in the next couple of months, and we've made some pretty great strides to make that a reality. So I think at that point, we're going to open it up for some questions, realizing there's some things we can't answer for one reason or another, but if we can, we'll do our best. We're trying to be as transparent as we can with you guys. We understand and appreciate the honesty that you've given to us and the respect that we've received over the last couple of weeks, and at this point, we'll, I think, open it up to questions. You guys?
Where do you stand with board sets and electronic systems?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, where do you stand with board sets and electronics at this point?
Okay, so we're currently looking at it'll be a PC-based system. run through Linux. It'll be our own system. We can go in a few different directions, so nothing's been locked in yet. But you know, it won't be anything similar to the Zidware system that's currently running Zidware games. It will be our own, and you know, it's once we decide it's going to be we're hoping on a bulletproof system that can easily upgradable. You know, have enough in there to handle our future as we move in that direction. So right now, there's nothing there's nothing real concrete. This is what we're doing, but it is in the works. It will be our own system, and you know, we're going to try to make it as serviceable as possible, be as user friendly as we can be.
A two-part question: what's your URL, your website, and where in the hotel are you located, so I can talk to you later?
Yeah, it's American-pinball.com. Also on Facebook,
Yeah.
American-pinball or AmericanPinball.com, or just American Pinball on Facebook. And then, and we're in the Oak Room over here. So yeah, you guys, you know, swing by. It's more of a, we'll bring you in when, you know, everybody that shows up wants to see what we're doing. We'll accommodate you that way.
Thank you.
Hi there. I'm asking on behalf of a couple of colleagues. Some people contributed work towards the tables that you're working on and weren't paid. I just wonder if you plan to deal with any of the supplier issues.
Yeah, can you repeat that?
So some people contributed work to the stuff that was being created, that was part of the team that haven't been paid or haven't been, you know. And are you going to tackle that, or are they hang and dry?
Yep. So he was asking if how are we going to deal with people that worked on the previous Zidware product, right?
Yeah.
That's a Zidware question. That's a John question. We're focused on making the machines and those types. You have to deal with the Zidware directly. Go ahead.
We know Joe Balser very well, but could the two of you tell us a little bit about yourselves and
Sure.
how you got involved there?
So he asked, you know, what's my background and Dabble's background. So first, I've been in the consumer electronics toy world for.
By looking all those things, like I used to work for the gaming as well, and from that reason, like I was pretty interested in the pinball side, and that's where I came to the business. And I'm pretty new in this industry, but like a couple of years. But like that's where we just started, and we're just trying to make the good games for the skaters.
I'll add one more piece to Dabble's experience from an international standpoint. We have a focus on bringing American pinball to markets around the world, and Dabble has. So, good question. He asked if we'll have Houdini here. We have the play field. While we showed the full game in Vegas and online, based on honestly your feedback, the industry, and our viewpoint internally, we decided we want to start kind of recreate the cabinet, if you will. So rather than showing you kind of a placeholder, which is what we've done in the past, we're working our cabinet that we're comfortable with, and
Are going to you. But we definitely have a strategy in place to make sure that this is a serviceable pinball machine. It's gonna make it to the street at some point. You know, if we can get relationships set up with operators, set up with our distributors, to have